Hello everyone and welcome to Dressage with Diagrams. I'm here today with David, the dressage diagram horse, and we are here today to explain the mystery that is straightness. Whenever we think of straightness, we always think of a horse being straight going down the centre line. So what a judge is looking for when you're going down the centre line is that they cannot see the horse's back feet. So basically the horse is drawing two train tracks and therefore the whole horse's body is in theory straight. Your horse should always have 25% of its weight on each of its four hooves. So 50% of its weight should be to the left, 50% of its weight should be to the right, whether it's on a straight line or on a circle. When you've got this, the horse's centre of gravity should be straight down the middle of its body. So what actually happens when a horse isn't straight? What normally is the case is this 25% distribution on each of its hooves is distorted. So you might find that one hoof has got 30% and on the other side of its body it's just got 20%, and therefore the horse appears to be crooked. There are two main causes for this sort of loss of balance. And the first one, and the main one, is when a horse falls either in or out through its shoulder. When this happens, the horse tends to drift in the direction that its shoulder is going in. And a common mistake that riders make is they think, well, the horse is drifting to the left. So they pull on the right rein to try and pull the horse over to the right. But what this does is it sends the horse even more off balance, because as you're pulling the horse's head round to the right, the shoulder then ends up going more and more to the left, so it's a little bit like a lorry jackknifing, so the horse is drifting away from the direction that the rider wants it to go in. The second most common cause for a horse losing its balance or not remaining straight, and this is more commonly seen on a circle or on a turn, is the rider pulls the horse's head round to the point where the nose of the horse comes past the width of that horse's shoulder. So as you can imagine, the weight of a horse's head, well, it's pretty heavy. So as the horse's head goes round past the width of the shoulder, then the horse's centre of gravity is again distorted. So the horse then has to compensate with this weight distribution on its hooves so that it doesn't in effect fall over, and therefore the shoulders then tend to go in the opposite direction of the horse's head, which is very similar to what I just explained in the last video. But what's actually happened in this case is the rider has caused the horse to fall out through the shoulder rather than the horse doing it itself. A really important rule of thumb is that even when you are bending your horse, even when you are riding a circle or on a turn, the horse's nose should not come past the width of its chest. Otherwise, you will cause your horse to lose its balance. So why is straightness balance? Well, as I explained earlier, a horse should always be on two tracks, so its front feet and its back feet should always draw two train tracks. The only exception to this is when you are doing lateral work. So if we look at this from above, you can see that the horse has obviously got four hooves, and when those four hooves are in line, they cause or create two train tracks. If those hooves are slightly distorted, for example the shoulder falling out or even the quarters falling in or out, it then becomes either 3 tracks or sometimes, in extreme cases, 4 tracks. Exactly the same can be said on a circle. So even on a circle, a horse should still draw 2 tracks. And a very common thing is the shoulders falling out of the circle or the quarters falling in on a circle. So it almost looks like the horse is drawing several different size circles at the same time. So when we take our horse from a straight line into a bend, we want the horse to bend equally throughout the whole length of its body and not just through its neck. And this equal bend is the thing that causes the horse to still have 2 train tracks or 2 tracks around the circumference of a circle, as opposed to drawing 3 or more of those train tracks. So even on a circle, you still need straightness. So when you're asking your horse to turn, instead of thinking about pulling the inside rein to ask it to turn, what the rider should really be thinking about doing is actually pushing the horse around the turn from their outside leg. To ride the circle correctly, the rider should turn their pelvis and their body in the direction of the turn. Their outside rein, in effect, guards the shoulder so that the shoulder cannot fall out of the circle. And it's the rider's inside leg that should be asking for the bend so that the horse bends through its rib cage rather than the rider's inside rein encouraging the horse to simply bend through its neck. It is by doing it this way that you end up getting a complete universal bend throughout the whole horse's body rather than just getting a disjointed bend, which then causes the horse to lose its straightness, and you then are unable to ride throughout the circumference of the circle. So as a recap, when you are turning, you should be turning from your outside aids, but you should be encouraging the bend from your leg and not your inside rein. And this is where that term inside leg to outside rein comes in, because your inside leg is asking for the bend and your outside rein is encouraging the balance or deciding how much or how little you are going to turn.